Experiment. Explore. Enjoy.
So hey, Timo.
Hey, hey.
We are here at Supercritical.
Yep.
And you're going to show us the Redshift, right?
Yes, exactly. The Redshift 6. It's an analog polysynth, 6 voices. And so the basic signal path is that there's a DCO, but it's kind of a generalized DCO. So it's just as analog as, say, a Juno 60 DCO, but we're playing some tricks that allow us to push up to 16 notes out of it at the same time. So similar to our Demon Core oscillator module. So you can detune it, and then we can stack it up. So that's now 16 sawtooths, and we're still 6 voices. Polyphonic, let me just up the octave. And we have pulses and sawtooths. And then also, in addition, we can control these in some different ways. So there's, for an example, a mode that... So screens that look like this are more unfinished than the others. This is still a beta software. So we can stack them, and in addition we can layer them by octaves. And there will be a lot of more what we call engines. So the DCO, it's always the same hardware underneath, but we're packing up the parameters in nice to use collections. Like this is a dual oscillator, which is much like a traditional polysynth engine, except for the stacking. And then this engine is what we call a Demon Core engine, which is quite close to our modules engine. So it has the interval thing. And then it also has what we call a sync trick. We don't have a proper name for it yet, even though we've had it in the module for like 5 or 6 years now. So the point is that if you have a lot of oscillators, and if I synchronize them to note on, like at first we get get them all phased up so that they add up to a single huge sawtooth, and then they phase out, giving a flangey, sweepy sound, and that's still polyphonic, very loud, sorry. And then we can also adjust the sync time, so we can make it so that it will be in sync in a while, or it will be sync in a long while. There. Or that it was in sync a while ago, so you get just the flanger part, so that you can do some quite unique paths, for an example. Okay, so that's basically the engine part. Let me point out at this point that the synth will be 6 parts multitimbral, and you can, one of the engines, or the ways we can use the large number of oscillators, that we can use them paraphonically. So a single voice can actually push, for an example, 4 oscillator, 4 voice chords paraphonically, so through a single filter. But obviously, if you're playing pads or strings, that's usually just fine. So you can, for an example, have 6 different parts playing chords, or you can have your synth bass, you can have a couple of parts playing chords, and then you still have 3 voices of polyphony left, and so on, so whatever combination you like. So it should be quite useful in the studio.
Yeah, of course.
For tracking a lot of stuff, and also live. Okay, so all of this oscillator fun goes into the filter. So the filter is also analog, but we're controlling a lot of various parameters there, and that allows us to play many tricks there. First of all, the basic, what we call the classic filter engine, is a multimode filter. So it can interpolate to a band pass, and from there to high pass. The basic mode is low pass. But also, one of the things we're playing here is, if I make a patch that's slightly more interesting. We can adjust the character of the filter, so that means that we're changing the control voltages just slightly to like give sounds that are reminiscent of some other synthesizers. Some of them are unique to us, and so on. So this is kind of the equivalent that if you've done a sound in your studio that has on a synth that you feel that the sound is right, but it just doesn't sound right, and you maybe do it on another synth in the hopes that it sounds better. So this is kind of the analog of, if you'll excuse the pun, of doing that in the single synthesizer. So you're kind of swapping the character of the synthesizer, adjusting the character. It also affects things like tuning accuracy in the oscillators and slop between the envelopes of the various voices. The filter is more flexible than this. We can actually also change the engine for the filter. So we have a phaser engine. Try to keep my fingers out of the way of the screen. So of course you can control that from an LFO and stuff. So then you get you can do some well all the classic phaser sounds in a single integrated analog synth. We also have 4-man filter right now. So
it's an analog filter, but it's digitally controlled,
Yes.
and you're able to do all of this
absolutely.
with the same circuitry. But
Yes.
wow.
But there's like a usual filter has 2 control voltages like cutoff and resonance. We have total of 9 control voltages to the filter circuit.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
And then it's just how you're actually interacting with those control voltages.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly. There's a lot of places we can go with them. They affect basically they control the frequency response, and we can go anywhere where those people who know technology know that we can go anywhere that's a four-pole response, which is much more general than what we're used to dealing with in filters, where a 4-pole response is just a 4-pole low-pass or high-pass response. There's also a pole mixing filter, so this is kind of the similar to something you have like an Oberheim expander or those older synths. We have a lot more modes, but you can just go through them. Yeah, so those are the filter engines we have now. We will be able to make a lot more of them eventually, so it's all in the firmware, as we just discussed, that how we control the filter core makes a big difference in how it sounds and what it does. So this is probably what will be available for release. There may be more filter engines than after releasing further updates. So that's a basic single path. The amplifier, basically, the only interesting part is that it has pan, so there's a stereo mix bus, so that allows us to do a lot of...
So is that per voice or like how? Okay.
Per voice. So we can do, for an example, let me show you very quickly. Restart, yeah. So let me, for an example, show you the modulation at the same time. So voice here is voice alternating, so each voice is a -1 +1 modulation source. So if I assign that to panning, so now I'm assigning a modulation that depends on the voice number. So now we're panning it left, right, each voice. So yeah, that's the basic setup. Maybe it'd be interesting if I play a few presets.
Yeah, of course.
Prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about the Super So and the stereo, there's a digital effects section that's bypassable if you want to keep it pure, but here we're using it. So that's for all your trance fans out there.
So what digital effects do we have?
Right now we just have delay, but we're aiming to have a delay, chorus, and reverb by release. And our aim is to not have a huge amount of effects, but we want them to be really good.
Okay.
The current delay is just your basic digital delay. That's also a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then let's. Okay. This one shows off the more distorted side. It's very loud, so let me just... So there's some more rough stuff. Oh, phaser pad. I talked about phasers, so... So there's a phaser pad for you. I think that one was in the stereo. Okay, let's show the sync trick in action. Am I overloading that? Good. And let me find something else. PVM pad. That's more classic analog polysynth stuff. So we can also we don't have to be doing tricks all the time. We can just, you know, something basic that should do the trick, right? So let's see what more. Stereo choir. So this is something that you'd usually get a choir machine for if you wanted to do in analog, but we can do it here. How much more do you want? I can show a few more sounds, or?
Yeah, I mean that gives us a good range, I think.
Yep.
So when are you hoping to kind of have it ready for production?
So we're aiming to ship it in early fall.
And do you have a kind of final price?
Sorry?
A final price?
Yeah, 12.59 euros. It's already available for pre-order, so.
Amazing. Timo,
Yeah.
thank you very much for
Thank
speaking
you.
to us, and have a good show.
Thanks, you too.